Purpose. When I think about purpose, that's literally the first event I ever hosted. That is the first thing God taught me about in my young relationship with Him as a babe in Christ. He really taught me about purpose in life, and then He started breaking down what purpose looks like in relationships. And I, for one, can honestly say that I didn't even think about it this way. Like, thinking about purpose in a relationships, like I don't get that. And so thinking about in a business, right? If you have a company or if you work for a company, they're typically, even churches, organizations in general, they typically have a mission and or a vision statement, right? So does your relationship have a mission or a vision statement? Did you maybe think about sitting down and thinking about, not just because, oh, I love you, or unfortunately because, not unfortunately, but maybe just because somebody got pregnant, okay, now we gotta be together type of thing. Or like I said earlier, maybe you got pressured because of fear, because of age, because of, whatever it is. The media has pumped up our brains to make us think that we need something that we really are not ready for. So maybe we got forced or manipulated into a relationship. And so we never really got the opportunity or even recognized the need to talk about our purpose. Now, I don't have children, but I can see how if a relationship came together because of a child, eventually it's no longer, eventually it should no longer be that you're together because of the child. Eventually there should be some evolution. There should be some growth and maturity in that relationship, to the point where that you guys maybe begin to realize that there's something more to what we are and who we are and what we have going on. There's something great. There's something beautiful. There's something unbreakable. It should be evolving. And so for those types of situations, if you found yourself maybe in a dry place or in a burnt out place, it could be because you've gotten to a juncture in your relationship. And maybe there's a moment that you need to sit down and say, you know what? We've not talked about our vision or our mission statement in a while. It seems like we're off a little bit. And maybe you are a parent to a child who's going off to college, or children, everybody's moved out, and so now you're the empty nester. And then as soon as they moved out, you saying, bye baby, we'll see you around, what's the next holiday, Christmas or Thanksgiving, we'll see you at Thanksgiving. And then you walk in the house and shut the door, and then the two of you look at each other and like, what now? What do we do now? Because your whole entire lives for the last 17 years of your lives have been devoted to these children. And so now you're just like, okay, it's been 30 years. We've been married 30 years, and we were children at 18 years old when we got together, 23 when we got married, whatever the age is. And we were still children. We hadn't gone through a lot, but in 30 years, we've gone through a whole lot. So in that case, what I'm saying is, there's times that you need to sit down and reevaluate the purpose, because it's no longer about the kiddos. It's no longer this connection that we have. It's no longer about, trying to build a fortune or build a legacy for our children. We've done that. We've established that. It's now a well-oiled machine. But is your relationship a well-oiled machine? Because as much as you don't want to admit to it, things do change. We do have to go back and reevaluate. And so taking that time to sit down and rethink. Let's talk about it. Let's relive some things that, you went through, and how it impacted your life, how it impacted your purpose, how things had to have shifted as you grew and as you changed and as things began to maneuver in your relationship. So purpose is extremely important. So I said, go back to it. Just like with the business, revisit, reestablish, a lot of renew, because we continue to evolve. So as we evolve, as we change, I've done it with my business plans, with my mission and my vision statements and such. I've had to go back. There were things that took place in my life. COVID impacted the way we think. It impacted the way we make decisions. It impacted how we factored in our or prepared for our future. It impacted us in so many different ways. And so because of that, it obviously must have impacted some relationships for the better and maybe some for the worse. And so for whatever the case may be, let's sit down and talk about how COVID impacted our lives. Because at first our purpose was to build this and create this. And because of COVID, it's now made us shift to focus on this. And we need to make sure we are aligned so that we're both fighting and vying for the same thing, that our goals are aligned, that our mindset is going in the same direction. We don't all the way have the same mind, but as long as we're going in a simultaneous same direction, we're better off. That means that we're shoulder to shoulder. Or even if you kind of further behind because you're working on some things, I know that you're working on some things, so I realize that you're going to be a little bit behind. And so you'll catch up a little bit later, but just know that I might be working on some things that might slow me down. Do you get what I'm saying? That purpose is so important that you literally have to pay attention to these junctures that take place in your life. And then be okay with sitting down and talking about to reevaluate what the purpose is. Baby, it's no longer about our kids anymore because they're adults now. Baby, it's no longer about us trying to build an empire because we've done that. We've built that and things are going great. So what are we working towards now? What's important to us now? Eventually you'll come to an understanding. Hopefully it's for the better. Right? But there's going to be some hard conversations even in that, because sometimes you may not be aligned on some things, but compromise does play a huge part, right, in those conversations. And hopefully after 30 years of being with someone, there's a strong level and a high level of maturity that you've grown to where you can be open, a little bit more open than you were a year ago or 10 years ago. A little bit, just a little bit. We need a little bit of growth progressively, right? So yeah, I hope this is good. I hope you're getting something. I know in the replay you're going to share with me. But kind of like I said, I basically had those three. So foundation, value, and purpose. The reasons why we are feeling burnt out in our relationships. It's a lot of checking and balancing and a lot of work, right? But balance and boundaries were the last two things that I just want to highlight real briefly here before I finish up. When you're off balance, I mean, I'm always thinking about, I'm always visualizing something, but when you're on a seesaw, eventually there should be a balance. We should be balancing at some point, right? Not talking about weight or anything. We're just talking about having the same mind or on the same wavelength, aligned with the same purpose and goals and missions and understandings and worldviews. Even a lot of things, there just needs to be an alignment. And anytime you're off, anybody ever driven a car and your alignment is jacked up? I know I have. Car just be going this way and I'll be like, I'm not even, what are you doing? I'm not even over here. Turning the wheel. You let the steering wheel go and the car is going to go where it want to go. It's not going to go just because you think you're supposed to be going straight. The car is going to go to the right or to the left because the alignment is off. And so you may think that you and your significant other might think that everything is going good, everything is beautiful, but let go of that relationship. That thing gonna go wherever you want to go. 5 years later, what happened to this? I thought we was doing good. Now you burnt out. Because we were just doing so well. And now we're off. Check your alignment. Get back in balance. Get on that seesaw. Look at each other in the eyes. And get that thing back in alignment. Sometimes you need a tune-up, honey. Sometimes you need the whole package. The most expensive package at the auto shop. Get it. And fix that thing. Get that alignment fixed. So when you're driving, you literally can just let that thing roll. And you hit bumps, you good. You're good. You're not going to fall off. And then the other thing, which again I alluded to earlier, is boundaries. Woo. Listen, I had to learn this. A lot of us had to learn this the hard way. Putting boundaries. Now, certain boundaries or certain people in certain relationships, it was easy to do. But then there were some that were very close to me, very intimately connected relationships that I found it hard to build relationships because I had bought into something that I wasn't getting. Like I created it. Anybody ever did that? You have this expectation of somebody and then they don't fulfill it. And now you're just like, what? I don't understand what's happening. We're going in the wrong direction and I'm burnt out because this ain't working for me. It's because you never drew the boundaries that was necessary. Sometimes you can draw boundaries and still maintain a very healthy relationship. And that's what you want. Relationships without boundaries don't always equal healthy. It can. It can when you absolutely trust them with everything you have and everything you are. And I love my best friend beyond words. Do you hear me? But she is a human being. She can make mistakes. She relies on the same God that I serve, that I rely on. So we are two imperfect beings that can say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, do it the wrong time, be off on timing. Like maybe I shouldn't have did that to her. Maybe I shouldn't have said that to her, right? And so even determining boundaries, like there are things that I wouldn't say to my best friend because I know certain things about her. There are certain things that I know she wouldn't say to me or do to me because she knows me. So she's drawn boundaries. I've learned to draw boundaries, right? And so all that to say, don't forget and do not neglect to ensure that you have set healthy boundaries in every relationship so you won't be burnt out. Let me tell you something. As I was preparing to go live here earlier today, this evening, I asked myself, is there ever a time that you don't get burnt out? No. In my opinion, no. We're human beings. So we're prone to get off balance. We're prone to step into things that we're not ready for or that we're not prepared for, that we're not confident in. And because of that, there are going to be times that we give more than what we give. And so eventually you're going to get burnt out. Right? And so we're going to get into situations, seasons within our relationships where we feel burnt out. The question is, are you neglecting the impact of what happened in your life? Maybe it was a storm. Maybe there's something that shifted your relationship. Maybe you're recognizing that, okay, something's not right. I feel like the value is off, so let me go back and see. Oh, well, maybe we're done. Maybe this is the time. This is the end of the road for this relationship. Or maybe you've determined the purpose. You know, it's no longer what we originally established this relationship on. Maybe we need to revisit it again. But for whatever reason, or whatever season you're in your relationship, it's going to be prone to burnout. It is. I've been hearing a whole lot of people, ministers and preachers, well, I'll say a whole lot, but I've seen quite a few make mention and talk about relationships and the fact that it takes work. It takes work. And I think a lot of times the newer generation, they don't get the concept. Like, you know, some older generations who stayed with parents who were together for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, or had access to marriages that lasted for those many years, or they just had that, you know, in their home. And so they have something to draw from. Like, that's a well that I absolutely appreciate, that my mother and father were still married even to their death, right? Same thing for my grandfather and my grandmother. To their death, they were married. And a lot of my aunties and uncles, my siblings, have long-lasting marriages and relationships that I can draw from. So something that I can pull from. And that's something that I appreciate. And that keeps me in a better mental space to know that I have, I got something that I can look forward to, and I'm not afraid of doing the work, because I know that behind closed doors in that bedroom, you don't know the conversations that are going on. You don't know the struggles that they're facing behind closed doors. And that behind closed doors process is doing the work, the unfavorable, uncomfortable work. So if I can encourage you with anything before I close here, is just be okay with doing the work. Put it in your mind. Posture your mind for work. If you're not ready, somebody said, I think in a live video that I was watching a day or two ago, if you don't want to do the work, don't commit. That was good to me. If you don't want to do the work, then why are you taking the job? If you don't want to do the work, then why are you saying yes at the altar? If you don't want to do the work, don't sign the contract. We got to do the work. And people such as myself, who are called and appointed and passionately driven to help people in these particular types of situations, when it comes to doing the work, you need somebody that stands behind you and beside you, and sometimes in front of you, pulling you in the right direction that you want to go. Sometimes you need to get that help, like I said earlier, getting some support that will benefit you. And even if it's just to help you so that you can come to your confidence, so that you can come to your truth. And that's my prayer, for you to come to your truth, for you to get to a level of confidence where you can have those conversations, you can draw those boundaries, and you can make those decisions that are going to benefit you and hopefully the person that you are connected to. Okay, so hopefully this blesses you, and I hope that it blesses you enough to share it with other people. This is something that I'm so driven to say and to help and to share. I'm here for each of you. I love you so much, and I hope again that you'll visit me next Wednesday. The question is for next Wednesday, the 25th, again at 6 p.m. is this is very specific, so this might be a little, I'm not gonna say easier, but why doesn't my friend fulfill his or her words? So why don't they keep their words? Like, you say one thing and then you do another. Why don't my friends keep their word? Okay, so somebody's friend is in trouble. Okay, so all right, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and please leave your comments below. If you have any follow-up questions, please do not hesitate to leave them here in the comment section. I will do my endeavor best to come back and pull those questions and follow up with you guys as I feel led to do. All right. Thank you guys so much. Love you. Have a good evening. Bye.